G'day YouTube, Max right here, and lots of fun stuff today. Bitcoin pulls back a little bit, currently down at under $63,000. We'll talk a little bit about that. But what I really want to talk about today is we want to hear from Raoul Pal, incredible famous macro investor, former Goldman Sachs guy who's a Bitcoin convert. And he's just got just really powerful stuff. Let's hear him talk about why this is the greatest opportunity of our lifetimes, and then we'll come back to me. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know, this is a live show. It's done Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. So if you like that, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll take questions at the end.
And with the Federal Reserve Bank printing so much money, essentially stimulating our way out of a recession, a crash, trying to eliminate risk, and that being a reason people are moving to cryptocurrency, because we're seeing what's happening with the dollar, like you just talked about. We're seeing the dollar get devalued. I mean, is that why people are moving to cryptocurrency? Because they're worried about the value of the dollar, or do they just want to say, screw you to the government and to central banks?
I think it's all of the above. But if you think of it again, I'm a macro guy at heart, and I look at bond yields. People used to have bonds. We don't now because there's no yield. So yes, the system owns them, but as individuals, they're not interesting to us. So that's taken the bond market, the biggest, largest source of investment on earth, has just been taken out of the equation. It's just not relevant to us. You might as well own cash. And the Fed decided, well, we can't allow, because all the companies are so in debt, we can't allow the credit markets to blow up because that would be a house of cards. So they started buying credit. So credit now doesn't react to the business cycle. So that's taken that out. And then we've got the currency markets. So now we're not talking about the debasement of fiat currency overall. We're talking about the dollar versus the yen versus the euro. That's been flat for 6 years now, because the governments don't want it to move, because if the dollar moves too far, it blows up the world again. So what we've got is very few avenues to actually make money. Now, real estate, sure, but it's expensive for most people, and also banks don't want to lend necessarily unless you're rich already. So what avenue have you got left? You've got the equity market, all-time record high valuations. Okay, money's going to keep going in, and it'll get more crazy in valuations. But is that the best bet? Or is it the market that has a 2 trillion valuation that could go to 100 trillion and is the future of the entire financial system and global business model? It kind of makes sense for people to start reallocating assets.
I mean, cryptocurrency, is it an investment or is it money? Because, when I keep cash or I buy gold, I don't look at that as an investment. I look at that as money that I'm holding or saving. But it sounds like you're looking at cryptocurrency as an investment.
I'm looking at it both. Some people philosophically want to use it as money. That's okay. I'm pretty happy using the US dollar for transactions. I don't have any savings in a bank account right now. I mean, I'm 100% allocated to crypto, which is an aggressive risk strategy because this is a 70% volatility asset. So it's extremely volatile, but it's the right point in the risk cycle for me to take that risk. But generally speaking, some people want to get out of this system entirely. And I get that, and I respect that. Others just want to use it to offset what the central banks are doing and making sure that their savings grow, still while operating within the current system, because it's bloody hard to buy a house with cryptocurrency right now.
So if you said 100% of your assets or your savings are in crypto, how do you buy things then? Because I can't go to Amazon and buy anything with my Ethereum.
Well, the secret is why I can take that risk is I have income. The really important thing about risk is to set up yourself to take risk. So you either have nothing, then take as much risk as you want, or you build up an asset base, you own your house, you have an income so you can cover your cost of living, and then your excess savings you can then risk if you want to, because you can always make it back over time via your investments and you're not going to lose your house. So setting yourself up for risk taking takes time. It comes later in life, but you suddenly occasionally get an opportunity like this. Now, this is the biggest I've ever seen, but it does come across from time to time where you can swing the bat and take the big bet.
I like how you said that, where there's a time and place for risk, where, if you're trying to build yourself, you're saying maybe don't take 100% of your money and put it all into cryptocurrency. Build yourself first.
Yeah, but you saw the opposite too. People who had nothing to lose, which was the millennials and Gen Z in March to June 2020, well, they had nothing to lose and they got given a free check. So they're like, sod it, let's go and buy some options. And they learned about risk, and a bunch of them made a ton of money from it, and it paid off. But yeah, had they lost that $1,200, it was free money anyway. So that was intelligent risk taking, even though it looked like it was the crazy Wild West. It was actually pretty smart.
With all the
We'll get back to Raoul in just a second here, but I do want to talk about that. One of the questions I get asked on this channel the most is like, what should I do? Is like, and they think they're asking the question. It's like, well, is the Bitcoin going up or Bitcoin going down? And it's never that simple because you need to understand your situation. That's what Raoul was getting at there. For me, I've lived through that several times. So Raoul talked about this time early on in your career where you're like, screw it, make a big bet. I got a little bit of savings, I might get wiped out. And I went through that at least once, maybe twice. There was one big bet I had when I first started having a little bit of money come in. And I had a big bet on something, and it was in some company on the stock market. The one and only time I was actually not on the stock market yet, but intention was to get there. So I was a seed investor for a green company. Lost all my money. Money went to zero. Lost it all. And that was like, pretty much a huge chunk of my savings. A little while later, it might have been one other, I don't remember. But then the third time around, it was like crypto. Crypto came, well, I don't know what it was. Crypto came around, I put all my money on the table, and I went into crypto very early on, 2012. First bought Bitcoin at $11. Within about 12 months, you got to remember, this is before Ledger. This is before good exchanges. This is before two-factor authentication on exchanges. I bought all this crypto. I had it stolen. So twice I got completely wiped out, right? A little bit later, now I still had the business income. I had a strong business with cash flow. This is what Raoul's alluding to here. But so a few months later, I had a little bit of money saved up. Boom, I knew crypto was the thing, and I went all in on crypto. This time went to a lot more effort and to understand the security models at the time and understand how to make sure to keep it safe. Put a whole bunch of crypto in cold storage at that time. Haven't looked at it since. So that is that's how that happened early on. Just like I was that young millennial investor in Raoul's words here, where you've just got nothing to lose, sod it, have a crack, right? Later on in life, by the 2017 cycle, I was rather wealthy. Business had taken off in a good way. Crypto had taken off in a good way, and now all of a sudden I've got something to lose. And now it becomes a little bit about protecting it. Well, I just need to make sure, what if crypto goes to zero? I don't think so. I think crypto is going to have a great 2017. I predicted it. You go back and watch my YouTube channels. I was saying crypto is going to go just absolutely nuts 2017. But did I put in every penny? Did I just empty my bank accounts and go all in on it? The answer is no, I did not. I didn't sell any either, but I rode that wave up because I needed to be diversified. During that time, I was mastering real estate. I wanted to have real estate income on the side. In case crypto went to zero, I want to have real estate on the side, and that way I've got multiple streams of income. And now I've just got these multiple streams of income. I've got crypto wealth, I've got real estate wealth, I have precious metals wealth, I've got all these different things, and now I feel a little bit more invincible, a little bit more vulnerable, less vulnerable. And so now you go back full circle to you're like, well, hashtag irresponsibly long, according to Raoul Pal. You're just like, now, I'm safe. I've got the cash flow. I've got these multiple different reserves of currency. I own real estate. I own a house, no mortgage. I own all this kind of stuff. And so now I've got money sitting around in the bank account. I need a little bit to day-to-day transactions, but sod it. Let's put it all in something and really swing for the fences, try and go hard or go home. So you can see through that life cycle of an investor, I've gone through multiple different risk strategies. And so when people ask me on this show and in the emails and the Success Council members, what should I do? It so much depends on your situation because it's a risk management concept. And it depends on where you are in your life. How many dependents do you have? What standard of living are you used to? What standard of living would you consider I'm not willing to risk going below that level of standard of living. So, all of those questions come into, how much do you risk in this, what is the greatest opportunity the world has ever seen? So all of those things come into it. So you just for everyone, know that. I'll try and explain the factors to you so that you can make decisions, but I am not your financial advisor. I'm not allowed to do it, but B, I wouldn't do it because I don't know you. You have to know the person and understand their risk profile, where they are in their life, etc. All right, back to Raoul. He's got some more important stuff for us.
Talks now of the stock market being in a bubble, the real estate market potentially being in a bubble with all the cheap money, all the cheap debt out there. Do you think that could affect cryptocurrency and cause a potential cryptocurrency crash?
Cryptocurrencies are cyclical assets, as many assets are. Most assets are driven by the business cycle. Cryptocurrency less so. It's driven by this cycle, driven by Bitcoin itself, bizarrely called the halving cycle, when supply gets reduced every 4 years, and tends to then lead to a speculative bubble. and then we tend to get a bear market. It also usually coincides with when the central banks have finally stabilized an economy after a bad period. So we saw central bank printing in kind of 2015, 16, 17. That was the period where Bitcoin did well last time. Then the world's economy recovered, Bitcoin did less well. So it tends to be the slight inverse of those central banks. So when the business cycle is looking good, you might want to own more equities than you own crypto. But when you're in this early stage where the central bank's probably going to print more money, you'll want to own some of this. So it has its own cycle. It has huge downside, but the upside is even bigger. So in financial market terms, we refer to as the risk reward. So the average annual return of Bitcoin is about 120% a year. So it's 120% a year in price appreciation. And I think the worst down year in the history of Bitcoin was 45%. So almost every day you enter the Bitcoin market, it's a 2-for-1 risk reward. Now that really works over a longer period of time, a few years. But if you look at a chart of Bitcoin, it always does this. It's an exponential chart. So you need to put it on a log scale. And what happens, magic happens when you put it onto a log scale. Exponential assets on a log scale makes sense. It trades in this beautiful range on this upward trajectory. Now that range on a normal chart looks massive, like down 70, up 700%. But when you're on a log chart, it's like, oh, I get it now. This is just a more volatile asset. But the rewards over time are amazing.
That's interesting. Now, one concern that I have about cryptocurrency is it's entirely on the internet. It's very...
All right, we'll leave that there, and we'll explore a little bit more about that. Let me flick over to this one. By the way, I got a comment in the chat here. It's like, why are you using a fake background? This is the reason I use a fake background, so I can throw charts up behind me. So yeah, I'm sitting in front of a green screen. I'm not really sitting in the mythical Bitcoin studio. I'll just head back so you can see what we're talking about here. So yeah, no, I'm not in a Bitcoin studio, but I do that. I'm sitting in front of a green screen so that I can put different things on the screen behind me and you get more screen. So we're on, by the way, Bitcoin price not 66,000. Bitcoin price is 63,000. We've gone down 4% today. But I'm looking at the BLX, which gives us the longest history chart. And I want to expand on this. So this is the log chart where each candle represents a month. This goes all the way back to 2011, all the way up to current day. And you just look at this beautiful trend here. Now, I don't count, I think it's very wise to take this out the first couple of years. When something is going from zero to something, it's going to mess up your chart because it's what is that return? It's an infinite return. So when the log charts try and incorporate this data, I think it messes it up and goes off in this direction. I think this is a pretty linear situation here. Put the peaks together as well. All right. And you can see here, we're flirting with there's bottoms here, flirting with the bottoms of the trend, bottom. And we got a lot of touch points there, but we have a few and only a few at the top. And I think this cycle is going to be very, very, very telling. So if we do climb up and we get way up here, by the way, this, if we make this as February, January next year, that puts this trend and puts the Bitcoin price at over $200,000. If we get up to $200,000 before the end of this cycle and we come up to this upper trend line, so minds are going to explode because this is not this downward, this concave down thingo. It's actually, you wipe off the next couple of years and it's kind of proof that we're in this linear upscale and people's heads are going to explode. They're like, oh my God, this isn't slowing down. This is going up just as fast as it ever was. Because if this is linear on the log scale, it means it's appreciating as a percentage just as much as it always was. And that is going to send the world into an absolute frenzy. If we get over $200,000 Bitcoin, this confirms we're not in a downward, in a decelerating acceleration of Bitcoin price. No, we're not. We're in a linear acceleration of Bitcoin price. And people are going to go nuts. People are going to come to this. They're going to come to Bitcoin anyway for all kinds of reasons. But this doesn't surprise me at all. I think this is more likely than not that this gets up to $200,000 by the end of this cycle. I'm not sure when that is. Maybe it's December, maybe it's March, maybe it's a little bit later. But if that is, to me, that's confirmation it's a linear scale and mind blown for the whole industry. But here's what I wanted to show you actually. This line here, this blue line here, this represents the 4-year moving average. So it's 48 cycles, each candles. Each calendar is 1 month long. So it's 48 months or 4 years. It is the 4-year moving cycle. And if you're sitting on the fence about being a potential Bitcoin investor, as long as you have a long time horizon, in a 4-year period, Bitcoin has never, ever, ever gone down, ever. This is just moving averages. But let's check it out and see if we make this. Sorry, don't disappear it. Give me this thing. Can I move that? I can. Let's see. Can you give me 36? But I've got to click OK. 36. Still, at no point with a 3-year moving average, at no point, it flattens there, but at no point does this thing trend down. That's on a 3-year moving average. Let's get in here and take a look at 24 months. 24 months. We see here we got a little, we went through a few months. Maybe that's not a few months. Maybe that's like a year. For a year, the moving average went down. At all other points, the moving average is moving up. That's on a 2-year moving average. This is like a very volatile asset, yes, as Raoul Pal says, but over a long time scale, it's got to be one of the safest assets the world has ever seen. It just goes up and up and up and just is an absolute machine. And I believe it will continue this trend until we hit saturation. For those of you familiar with the S-curve or the S-curve of adoption, it's just going to trend. We're just hitting the tipping point now. And so well into 2028, we should still be in this rapidly increasing position. And so Raoul Pal's made the prediction that he thinks the entire crypto space goes from $2 trillion to $10 trillion over the next few months, right? That's a 5x over the next few months. Very, very exciting times. And so the opportunity is so great. What's your downside? You might have to hold it for 2 years, 3 years. You might have bought it at the exact wrong time and got it at the absolute peak. We go into a multi-year bear market and you had to wait a few years. Sad. Right? No one likes to be that person. You'd like to grab at one of these peaks at the bottom, of course, but risking out on missing out on the potential of what's coming to me is a much bigger risk. Much bigger risk. All right, I want to take a look. We'll take some questions now. Let's see. What do we got here? Hi, do you think that the house prices will come down in the next 2 years? Yeah, the real estate market. This is a great question. It's a question I grapple with all the time. It's so hard to know. This is the question, inflation versus deflation. Are we going to see the stock market and real estate market crash, or does the Fed print money forever and make sure it never does? I suspect there is one more big pullback before we race off to hyperinflation. So I think there's one more, but I'm not certain of it. Just not certain of it all. I think it's slightly more likely than not. But they can print forever and just make sure nothing ever goes down. But they will absolutely guarantee hyperinflation, and Bitcoin, is worth $1 trillion each coin. Not that that means anything, because houses might be worth $1 trillion each. So be mindful of that. Max, I think that you should change your going live on YouTube hour, because right now Pomp is having his live show. Yeah, okay, good to know. I'll keep that up my sleeve. I might move it to a little bit of a different time. Hi Max, do you have any ideas on purchasing real estate with Bitcoin, feasibility timeframes? No, I don't know. The answer is no, Ives. I'm just going to wait and see. The cool thing about real estate crashes is they take a long time to play out. So in 2008, it's called the 2008 crisis, but prices didn't bottom until the bottom of 2009. Actually, maybe even 2010. I'll have to revisit that. But it took a good 18 months for prices to decline. There's a lot of time to see it. Time to buy Pirate Chain and Monero. I haven't looked at those charts in a while, but yeah, could be. You guys know if you've watched the show the last few episodes, you'll know my theory. First Bitcoin will pump, and then altcoins. We'll see. Let's have a quick look here. So we're seeing Bitcoin come down. Ethereum's just started its tumble. I expect that to tumble a little harder. Let's see. We have, right now we're looking at, this is the monthly, it's no good to me. Let me get back on the daily. Yeah, this trend to me is very, very important. I was expecting the Ethereum Bitcoin to bounce off of this trend line. Time will tell. We've just seen Bitcoin take a little bit of a hit, 4% today. Ethereum is only 1%. We'll see that wick touch that trend line. If Ethereum comes all the way down to here, that could be a good thing. I think Bitcoin dominance will go up, probably head up closer to the 50 mark. And I think that will be really, we're headed off to the races. So let's wait and see about that. Where are we? Is it a good time to jump into alts right now based on the Bitcoin dominance? I think it's just a little pullback. I think we broached that. See, we've come back down and we are retesting this area of support. I suspect it will confirm this area as support and bounce off. Now it might not. I could be wrong. Could come down to this line of support. That's the next point of support that I see. And if that fails, I think we'll be coming all the way back down to the 40. So I have to wait and see. Time will tell. I just heard someone claim that there might be an Ethereum ETF coming out soon. That could be a huge boost to Ethereum. Could send Bitcoin dominance plummeting. Have to wait and see on that one. Thoughts on CKB and the market cap? I don't know what CKB means. Does anyone know what live stream software I'm using? I'm using, what's it called? It is called OBS. OBS. And let's go. I'll go over to Discord now. And I did it again. No, I didn't. I thought I was talking about the chart without showing you the chart. But I'm good. You can see the chart. And from the Discord, got a couple questions in here, which is, what effect will the Fed tapering starting next month have on crypto, and more specifically the BTC price, as we get near the end of this cycle? By the way, guys, tomorrow I think we're going to have another Raoul Pal clip. He's going to talk about how this cycle ends in a few different scenarios. Very, very important video to watch. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. And do me a favor, I want to see, hit the bell button and click all notifications. Can you do that? Someone just told me that you can't do that because the channel is rated for suitable for kids or something like that. Do me a favor, hit subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button and click all notifications. If you can't do that, please let me know in the comments. I want to see what's going on there. So yeah, that question is going to be answered tomorrow. How do we manage the end of this cycle? And a good question here from Hodler. What impact will the Evergreen collapse have on crypto? I hear it is certain to fail. So both of these questions kind of tie into the macro outlook. And we've talked about this, the last few things. So let's go look at it again. I think let's check out the DXY. We've got a critical line of support here for the DXY. And we're looking like we're breaching it, but we'll need to see a few closes down here. If the DXY comes below this and closes below this, that is more evidence that we are not going to see a crash here in the near future. If it clears that horizontal line of support, if it clears this diagonal line of support, we're going to be looking very, very good. So the Dow Jones, we'll just go back and look at it. This is the same information you got in yesterday's video here. It looks like it bounced off here, this horizontal line of support, but we'll need to see a few more days. If the Dow Jones clears this previous all-time high, along with the upward sloping trend line, you're looking for, I think you can pretty much eliminate the fears that there's going to be some big macro black swan event. At least the market certainly doesn't think so. But yeah, the Evergreen situation and the contagion that takes months and months to play out, absolutely, it's a huge factor. Do I know what's going to happen? I don't. So what I do is I'm just almost completely in crypto. Why? If there's a big crash, crypto will get smashed just like everything else, but it will be the first to recover. It will recover quickly and will recover with a vengeance because of the money printing response to that event. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Let me go back and see what we've got. We got Barra saying, what bell button? Right next to the subscribe link, there should be a bell button. And yeah, the Bitcoin studio would be badass. Yeah, it would be. It would be. All right, guys, I appreciate that. Listen, a couple big things coming up. You definitely want to be subscribed. You definitely want to get the notifications. Click the bell and say all notifications. On Saturday, I'm going to be releasing the video with G. Edward Griffin, a 1 hour long interview with G. Edward Griffin. Absolutely awesome, absolutely mind-blowing. Highly recommend you check that out. Tomorrow, we're going to go through, we have another clip from Raoul Pal talking about what is, how the potential different scenarios at the end of this cycle. We're very close to it. Are we a couple months away from it, or are we 4, 5, 6 months away from it? We're going to talk about that. Nice. Christian says all notifications is functioning. Thank you so much. And guys, appreciate you. I don't understand. I used to do a live broadcast, and I would get 500 live viewers. And the numbers are just not there. I was actually hoping there was a problem with notifications, but if there's not, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go back to not doing these live, and maybe the YouTube algorithm will treat me a little better. But I'm not happy with these number of viewers. So if you can help people share this stuff, help people get on this, please let me know. Maybe it's because Pomp is such a beast. I don't know. And so maybe that's it. Maybe I'll change the days. But all right, guys, thank you very much. I will see you guys later. I'll see you tomorrow. And take care. Bye.